So we are back. Second live stream of the day. New York session. Gonna share this stream in the Discord, of course. So now, yes. Alright. There we go. All said and done. I'm quickly gonna refill my glass with water, and now when I come back I'm gonna start. Alright. Cage is here as well, as always. Let's go, brother.
What's up, everyone?
And he's in the call, of course.
I am.
Okay, let's start it off with looking at the Nasdaq. Let's look at what happened here, because I think this is pretty interesting to look at. When did I do the first live stream? I think in this pump up, yes. In this pump up, I said I had to wait for some local confirmations to get into place. Either longs or short, it doesn't really matter. But in this case, it was interesting to look for shorts for a couple of reasons. The first one is being, after the London session ended, we put in a higher low, taking out London high. And from this sweep, we got an aggressive reaction down, breaking structure towards the downside. So that can be the first signals we are gonna get bearish. What do you want to see from here? Your highs being left open and your lows being taken out. The high gets left open, but the low as well. Once again, high left open, low again. High left open, low again. So this just becomes a compression, and that is the main reason why I didn't play this short over here. It was fine, you had some confluences to do it, but what can happen in a compression like this? You could also just come up, take out the high, then come down, or just take out the high and continue trading up. So it's just a bit more tricky to play in a compression like that. Even though you had some confluences, that would be nice to take a trade. As a result from this down move, we took some liquidity from the lows, tapping into a nice support zone just before we had some GBP news. Of course, we're still in London, so that can impact the London session. And we got a pretty bullish reaction from that and started coming up and making new highs. I pointed out a level in the live stream of this morning, the 750 level. That could be a place where price can reject from and create some bearish price action, or come back down to take out some liquidity where we can enter a continuation long. Fortunately, that didn't happen. We rejected the level, came down without an entry and came up without an entry. And then just before we had news at 2:30, we made the high, taking out this high and came down. Right here we had some pretty great confluences that the market needed some liquidity from the lows, of course. Nice highs being put up here. Market makers could be selling right here. And as you can see, even before New York, we're getting in a lot of volume. taking out liquidity from the lows and bouncing from the level I pointed out this morning as well. Right now, probably are gonna look at some continuation longs from this level. But for that, local price action has to be formed because nothing can be used in this this rapid down move. So let's see if you can get some sort of local range. And of course, New York is about to open, so that is gonna give us an answer on what's gonna happen next. Let's get rid of this old news. Let's go. Wait. Yellow. Okay. Let's get rid of all this and just wait for the Nasdaq to New York open. Bitcoin. I think I haven't looked at Bitcoin in the stream this morning as well. Let's see what happened here. Got a nice bounce from the local short. And this demand zone that was left open. This was another level I was looking at. But obviously we didn't tap into that and just created new highs from here. Okay. Let's see what supply this is. Oh, it's this one. Okay. Looks like we flipped this level. Right now you can hold it as support. In combination with locally you have some structure right here. That can bring you towards new highs. And of course, Bitcoin is still up until proven otherwise. So you're just expecting higher highs and higher lows. Yeah, we're using this right now. You can refine it a bit. Right here. Last place where sellers try to push price down before you trade it over this high. They fail, buyers took over, making a nice structured demand. We haven't tapped into this yet. Yeah, just sideways price action. Not really a range in here as well. And what if we fill these levels on Bitcoin? Let's say we close below here. What can happen then? Because of course these lows are pretty juicy. And this level is still also an interesting point. I mean, a point of interest. You used it already here, but the liquidity below is interesting to look at, as well as this. Do we have untested demand here? Sure, not the cleanest. I would say if Bitcoin is gonna fail to hold here at these levels, so say it flips it level, you can use it as resistance, and maybe then you can look at all this liquidity at the bottom. And then these levels are gonna get interesting. because we took out a pretty major liquidity point right here. This is the high that brought you towards all these lows. So of course the market is gonna react from that. If we are strong, we can hold here and continue our uptrend we have right now. We broke structure right here. And otherwise, if we're not gonna manage to hold here, we can look at these lows and maybe a bounce in a level somewhere around here. Yeah, you can also put in this demand. There's still enough demand at the lows to tap into if the market fails to continue new highs from here. Also, we're pretty close to all-time highs. So it can be a good reason for the market to fuel up again at the lows and then continue moving up. Could create a tiny local range right here, getting a distribution if you take out the high here. Maybe once more and tap into this supply we have left open. This is a really great supply because as you can see, it came from the origin of a pretty big down move, so it can be used as a strong supply. So let's see if we can create a local range right here and maybe get some confirmations for shorts. If not, we can just pump through and it doesn't really matter. Curious what happened on Ethereum. Nice bottom. Wasn't the cleanest range though, but just pretty clear that market makers filled up at these lows. If you look at the volume as well, big volume spikes at these lows. For the people that have watching me or Trader Cage for a long time, they recognize these lows. Just an indication that market makers are filling up. Also, it happens in a demand and in a strong support and resistance zone right here. So great confluence is to look higher. As I said, it wasn't the cleanest range. That doesn't matter. Right now we are in a last supply, last hold, how you want to call it, before we're gonna get into this liquidity that is still left open here. From that we are getting a local reaction. Bit of support from the left right here that brought you into the supply. You failed to hold it. Probably internally a break. So on the 50-minute, we expect a lower high for a lower low. High time frame, that doesn't matter, of course. Nice step into that level right here. Old high. Nice reaction up. This could be a local range. It isn't in the cleanest place. It is not like this supply was untested. If this range was created before this supply, a bit like on Bitcoin, you can get a distribution while tapping into a higher time frame pivot point, supply zone, demand zone, how you want to call it, to create a pivot point and then come down. But on Ethereum it's just not as clean. Demand left open right here. So again, last struggle point before you can gain the high. Oops. From there we gained the high, so this can be used as a support, demand zone. you can build up some nice liquidity on these highs right here. Get a local accumulation going. Like this, and then push price up. Also a scenario on Ethereum. Because on the 50-minute we broke structure towards the downside, you could also draw in your range like this. Then an accumulation would be nice, lower time frame. And just waiting on Ethereum. In between two of those important zones, just before all this liquidity on the highs. Just gained something. So I would just wait to form wait for something to form on Ethereum. Quickly look at NQ before New York is opening. Let's see if we're gonna come down or push price up. Nice for value gap to hold, or because it brought you towards a new high. If you're gonna inverse this, it can be a nice zone to use for short confluences to trade towards this low. Maybe take out liquidity from there. Right now we're also using this old high in combination with this for value gap. Can also be a great confluence to trade higher. So just waiting on New York right now. I also wanted to try to just analyze a stock raw, press the record button and upload it on YouTube. So I can do two things at once and live stream, explain the chart to you live, and then make a video about it. Random song in here. Okay. Let's wait a couple of seconds on New York open. ES was way more bearish than NQ at these highs as well. That's also a confluence I forgot to mention at these highs why we could go to liquidity on the lows, at least towards this liquidity point. Also is in confluence with the mid-range of your London session. But it looks like the S&P is hungry for the London low right here. That could mean you can get an SMT and return back up again, but an SMT is not always a indication for a reversal. It can also be a magnet for NQ in this case to also trade towards the London low and then come back up again. I don't know when it was last. Yeah, it was right here as well. Yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. On NQ we already had an SMT with AM and London. Yeah, AM and London. Of course, then you can come up and go up from there, but no. Yes, just wants to follow and also take out London low. So then it just acts as a magnet. Right now could be the same thing. Can also put in a pretty nice swing high in this 4-hour close if we're gonna get this. That can give us an expansion towards the downside. On the 1 hour we already have it, of course, right here. Time will tell. Yes, just front ran London low. Right, let's scout which stock we are gonna analyze. Not interesting. Nvidia. We need a clean one. Which one didn't I? Cage. Do you have a stock I haven't analyzed yet for me that I can make a video about? And that looks interesting.
Maybe, not sure how it looks now, but Amazon.
Amazon, oh yeah. I don't know if I've charted it. A bit, not really. Okay, yeah, this can be an interesting one, definitely.
Oh yeah. Let him can do something with that. Create his chartsmith magic
I can do
on the
something
apple.
with this, yeah, sure. This is looking so beautiful, by the way, this local... Alright, yeah, we can get into a video right here. Let's get ready for a recording. Right, let's look at Amazon. First, when we start analyzing, we want to start at the monthly time frame and work our way down from there. If you look at our structure, we can see this is our higher high, a higher low, and the higher high, and also your all-time high. From there, we got a correction to take out liquidity from the lows, tap it to a demand zone for support, and from there, start your move up again to create a new higher high slash all-time high. So expected order flow on the monthly is up and up until proven otherwise when we take out our last all-time high. The weekly pretty much stays the same, but right here is what caused us this break of structure, caused us to trade towards these lows, take out liquidity, bounce from this nice demand zone that was left open, and you can see we got a nice reaction up from there. We had nice 3-day structure that brought us towards new lows. So on your 3-day, you got bullish when you gained this, and you can expect higher highs and higher lows. That is also what has been happening since we had this bullish change of character. So now we know monthly is up, weekly you can still come down because your break of structure was here and you don't have any structure in between. If you look at just how the candles moved, you could also say on the weekly, this is a valid structure pull and you gained it towards the upside. So overall, you're really bullish on Amazon. On the daily, we can see after we gained that high, we put in a higher low, a higher high, a higher low, and then a pretty aggressive pump up close towards our all-time high. But from there, we got a rejection. There's also supply at this point right here, which you can reject from to collect more liquidity from the lows to continue your up move. So we got into a zone of supply, zone of resistance, and got a pretty heavy reaction from that towards the downside. Why? There's a lot of liquidity being built up here. As you can see, a lot of people that started buying in this up move put their stop losses below these lows. So that is a nice place for the market to trade towards if they need to fill up their positions again to continue the move towards all-time highs. Where did we stop? We have a big block right here that you can draw in as a demand to look for support. And from there, we started moving up again, creating a higher low and a new higher high. So what do you want to look for on Amazon? To continue trading towards the all-time high, we can look for a higher low and a new higher high. Knowing that, what are interesting zones to look at? For that we're gonna have to zoom in. As you can see, there's a lot of trend liquidity being built up once again, just like we did over here. Below that, a demand zone, just like we did over here, a demand zone below our trend liquidity. As you can see, Amazon likes to take out the trend liquidity, tap it to a demand zone, and from there move up again. But right now, there's one more interesting thing that I want to point out. We have formed a range, and if you are familiar with range trading and how deviations of a range work, you can see we have a range high, our range low, and we have our deviation 1. This can mean that market makers are starting to fill up short positions right here to trade towards the downside and take out lows. What could be the objective for the short? As I said, to take out all this trend liquidity being built up, to fill up their long positions and reverse back up again. But as a confirmation on a short like that, you need a bit more than just one deviation on your range high. You will need a change of character towards the downside, indicating we are getting more bearish than bullish. And you need a third tap, either in extreme supply or at the range high once again, or at your extreme liquidity of your range. So let's look if we have some sort of supply or a extreme liquidity point we could target. A supply right here. What can this mean? This could be our third tap. Then we are missing one more thing. A change of character towards the downside. On the daily, you could say it's over here. On the 3-day I mean. And on the daily, it isn't the cleanest candles, big gaps in between. But this is your structure pool. So on the daily, this would be your low to break. But we don't have to wait for the daily. We can also zoom in and look if internally we can switch bearish as well. Because if you look over here, we have a really clean high low just before taking this high. That took you over this high. And when you break below this low, it can indicate that locally we're getting bearish. And we can expect lower highs and lower lows towards the downside. So we have the change of character, we have a deviation of the range high, and we have a tap into our extreme supply. Let's see if locally we also got some more confirmations that we can trade lower. Once again, I would be looking for a change of character. In this case, the 1 hour is fine. If you look, we have a structure pool right here. Internally brought you towards a new high. If you're gonna close below this, you expect a lower high and a new lower low. Right now we close below this low. It isn't the cleanest close because we closed below it and after that we started coming up. But if the market is ready and wants to treat this as a bearish change of character, we are gonna see that this high is gonna get respected. And we put in a lower high for a new lower low. Where could this lower high being put in? We have all these old lows collected right here in combination with this structure pool we are rejecting from right now, as you can see. So this could be enough, and otherwise we have a bit of structure right here that we could also use to trade towards the downside. and maybe look for some 1 minute, 5 minute confluences in here. So it looks like that Amazon is distributing right now, and that we can trade towards all the liquidity being built up here. For me, there's not enough confluences to preset this zone right here. It isn't the cleanest supply like we had over here. And this isn't the cleanest change of character towards the downside. So I would watch this zone locally on a lower time frame to get local confirmations that we can trade towards these lows. And otherwise, Amazon can still come up from here, deviate the high once more, and then trade towards the downside. So higher time frame, we are still bullish on Amazon, but lower time frame is getting more bearish than bullish, and it looks like we are distributing and trying to fill up new orders on these lows that we have been building up right here. So there was a quick little Amazon analysis and video. Let's quickly look at the Nasdaq. Okay. Did ES take out? Oops. Are we still live? I don't know. I closed my tab, I think. Oh. Are we still live?
We are still live.
Oh, okay, yeah, I have it back right now. I closed it for some reason. Okay. Oh yeah. ES took out Asia as well. What could this mean? That could mean that the Nasdaq is just following the S&P 500 towards the Asia and the London low. Let's see if we have another zone that we could bounce from. Yeah, we have a big 4-hour supply right here in combination. This is pretty strong. A lot of value gaps overlapping each other right here, so that could be a zone that is interesting for Nasdaq to look for support again. Let me just start it like this. Probably below, yeah, both of your liquidity lows, session lows are collected right there as well. Gage, did you see something different on Amazon that I missed or whatever?
No, Amazon is fine.
Yeah.
Can straight away be in the upload.
Yeah. Great. Hey, what's this 1-hour zone? Oh yeah. A zone that brought you towards new lows and a zone that brought you towards new highs. I forgot about that. Gone. It also looks like we're gonna inverse these 1-hour value gaps. Is there a stock that opened with a significant number? AMD. Oh, okay. Yeah, failed to gain the high, then you can still come down lower. If you're gonna reject this high, it's still mid time frame as you can see. It indicates that we're gonna need more liquidity from the lows. I also said, yes, this is a liquidity hunt, but it isn't. Yeah, it can mean that it wasn't enough, and we have to come down right below this low once again, and these are just equals. And it looks like that is about to happen on AMD. Then we have this demand zone right here. Maybe we can bounce from there. Liquidity point that we can take out in combination with a really nice support and resistance zone, as you can see. And if that still isn't enough, a demand zone right here that we created after we broke structure towards the upside. Just a tough level for AMD to get through, which is logical. Your last liquidity point before all-time highs. So they have to fill up apparently. If anybody else in the stream has a chart request, feel free to leave it in the chat. Doesn't matter what it is. Let's look at gold. What happened there? Yeah, rejected the high that you needed to gain for more upside. Just swept it, and from there we are moving down. This internal structure break is nice and all, but if your high time frame structure isn't gonna break towards the upside, you're done. Equals to target, of course. Other liquidity lows to target. Nice demand zone below it. Did you get a short right here? Let's see. Take out the liquidity point. Also from the lows. Triple equals that we built up. Liquidity hunt to take out these equals. Also a move to get in early sellers that think, alright, we took out liquidity. We left open our high. We are getting bearish. Also with this break to the left. Maybe we can trade from lows to the lows from here. But no, this is just a way for the market to get in those sellers, to eventually take them out, and from there start a real down move. Try to trade up from here, a support zone, which you fill, and there you have a pretty good confluence that you can locally look lower as well, in combination with this manipulation and the fill to hold this zone that should have brought you higher. If you're gonna leave open this local high, you can look for an entry right here. What could it be? You have a structure pool, you close below it, and you could also put in an order right here in combination with a nice fair value gap or order block, whatever you want to trade on gold. Small order block right here as well. You could put in your trade, and maybe put your stop loss above this high. First target, and your second target being right here. Pretty clean. Oh yeah, McDonald's. Looks like this was enough. Our extreme liquidity gone right here. Locally getting in some early sellers right here. When you close below this low, of course people are gonna get bearish, put their stop loss above the high that took out extreme liquidity, but the market makers weren't ready to short yet, and they have to take out all the people that started shorting here. As you can see, take them out, and from there start to dump down. It happens all the time, everywhere. Also tapped into a, you can draw this into the right all the way. This is just a big resistance zone. All of these highs collected right here. Bit of structure before you came down. So great way to continue the down move. We already initiated right here. Bit the same as Amazon, deviation on the range high. McDonald's is up until proven otherwise forever, it seems like, but right now it's getting bearish locally as well. We got the deviation at the range high, a break towards the downside right here, and from there you tapped into your extreme supply of the range and started moving down. This isn't your tap, by the way. This is. Right. So this could be the indication that market makers have filled up the short positions on McDonald's to trade towards these lows. Then you can look for buys again in this zone if you get local confirmations. Crude oil, oh wow. It is in my watch list, but I don't know. It seems like August has been the last time I looked at this chart. Oh, this is insane. This is getting ready for a blast up, it looks like. Really nice range. Really nice return to zone of the range. But this deviation at the low took out pretty nice liquidity. Front ran this zone. You can see there's a sub high right here that brought you towards a new low. So if you're gonna gain this, it is really likely that you can create new highs. That is also what happened. And before that, you had a small struggle point, and we never tested this back. We also front ran it right here. Could be used if you want to create a third tap on crude oil. Let's get rid of this because this is just annoying. Right. I put this in my chart. Last place where sellers tried to push price down, the buyers took over and you traded above a high. Is it a monthly high? No, it is a weekly high. So this is a strong break of the market, and you expect a higher low while protecting this low for a new higher high. Where do you look for that? In a support demand zone where we tapped into right now. Okay, so crude oil already is looking interesting. Let's see if there is a different demand zone left open. Because this can be your tap into the extreme demand of your range and be your be the start of your pump up. Random number in the playlist. Alright, so we expect this low to get respected and put in a higher low somewhere for a new higher high. 3-day you can see, or what was it, weekly? Yeah, weekly you can see that this is a nice demand that was left open untested, and we are having support in there right now. Nice. Now locally this gets a bit more difficult, I see. Rapid move down after tapping into this supply, change of character, maybe a news event or something, because this just don't happens like this. Also at New York, so probably something news related. Front trend demand. Let's see if we have a local range we could use. Sure, why not? Okay. Interesting. Alright, high time frame. We are expecting a accumulation on crude oil towards all this liquidity on the highs. Locally, we are, yeah, it is the extreme demand of your range. Your extreme liquidity would be around here. You could say it's this, but if you're gonna take out this low, you're probably also gonna take out the range low. Locally right now, we have formed a range as well. In our extreme demand, this could mean if we're gonna start deviating the lows right here, once, maybe even twice, taking out this liquidity as well, getting a local confirmation that market makers are ready to push price up, and from there be your start of the move towards the upside and all the trend liquidity being built up right here. So this looks, yeah, this looks nice, absolutely. And of course, if this wasn't enough, you can still sweep this low, but I want to see a sweep and then a tap up because you already had a break of structure towards the upside. If we are gonna get candle closes below this low, then you have to wait for a new change of character again because you broke below your higher low to hold. So then it's gonna get less interesting, and that is also why a play in here is more interesting than at this range low again. Okay, good call, Cage. Interesting. Interesting chart. Oh, okay. Well, maybe I was wrong. Come on. My mouse isn't working. Thank you. Alright, big SMT. And we're taking out highs. Apparently, Nasdaq doesn't need those lows and can continue up from here. This is also pretty strong. Local structure that brought you towards a low. Gained it, tested it back, and created a new high from here. Nice. Pretty bullish. I think this title doesn't work for the algorithm. Nobody's joining the stream. problem. We'll try again tomorrow with a different title. Have to test some things out. Either way, there's value here for the people that are watching it back. Legends. So okay. Let's see what happened with Bitcoin on the open. Nice reaction from your demand still. Moving up. We're expecting new highs, so pretty logical what is happening right here. Link used this to move up. Never giving us a local play on the range that we created right here. Would have been nice if it did something like this. Reject this, take out this liquidity, tap into this demand, and then you can move up. This is a nice zone for Link to gain. Gain it, and maybe we can trade towards these high right here with a local range or whatever, some sort of confirmation. Cage, one more chart request because nobody is here. Let me know if you have a nice chart for me. And if not, doesn't matter either way, then I'm just gonna end the stream. I got a nice video out of it. Once again, almost an hour of live streaming. Just pumping content out there. Getting into the algorithm until we're gonna get picked up. Get some more viewers. Ooh, micro strategies. Okay. Oh, so. This, I would say this happened not so long ago. Damn. Okay. The accumulation right here at this low. Third tap in your extreme demand. And you can target the trend liquidity. This was a call from Cage in a couple of live streams ago. So shout out to Cage for this one. Yeah, technical target is your range high, and from there you can continue your downtrend maybe. Or not, because of course this can also be a place higher time frame where you can move up again in correlation with Bitcoin. Then maybe you can get bullish again. This is your high to gain. Far away, but this could be a nice start. But first target right here. You also got a pretty nice local entry right here. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Nice to see. MicroStrategy is doing what it needed to do. Bottom set up. Once again proves the strategy. Also works on stocks. But we already knew that when we called that Nvidia top right here. Unbelievable. and then the bottom as well. That was amazing. All right, then this will be it for today. And yeah, Nasdaq also blowing up. All right, I will see you guys back tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.